All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for
Hibike Euphonium, Season 1, Episode 12. Reina has the solo part.
She does.
Because...
And I'm so glad of the way it turned out.
Yep. Because Kaori made a decision.
Mm-hmm.
A decision that was given to her by Taki sensei.
Yep.
But she was the one to make it in the end.
Yep. That's huge. That's huge because that means that the Wind Ensemble will accept not only that Taki is not their enemy, but also that,
Kaori's okay with it.
Yeah, Kosaka deserves this.
Yes, that too.
So she's not the enemy here. We won't have some kind of dark repeat of last year.
Nope.
If anything, things are going to be inverted in a way that should lead towards people who are putting in a lot of effort to feel rather rewarded for their effort.
But speaking of effort and being rewarded for it or not, Shuichi, he got called out. He got an ultimatum of get this ready by tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good luck, buddy.
Good luck. That's oh boy, that's a hell of a deadline.
Yeah. I can't imagine though, like how good Kumiko must be feeling with regards to seeing like Reina like
get that vindication
and stuff. And
after her own love confession.
Right.
Yeah.
And while she's had her love confession given, she knows where Reina.
So this is where your heart truly lies.
Stands with this whole thing there. So we've got kind of all the foundational stuff set up, and we might be headed into the competition stuff like very soon.
Maybe.
We're coming up on the end of season 1. So
that's true.
It might be right about that time where it's perfect to get into it. So
How about we do the same?
Yeah. Without further ado, let's just jump right into it.
I know I said it before, but I'm really glad that Hazuki, even though she didn't like make the cut, now has the next piece to practice on ahead of schedule. So that way she'll have a better shot of maybe making it for the next piece they perform.
Totally.
That moment when you realize, right, that's not background music, that's just them performing.
Dawn till dusk.
And there's just the two of them.
Whoa.
She's exhausted.
Oh boy. Breathe.
Oh yeah, that's right, because it's also really hot. Yeah. Yeah, she's really good. Or something like that. Yeah. No big deal.
It sounded a little... Wait, what? Oh, yeah, it's getting worse.
Oh boy.
Oh.
All right.
Yeah, get that shade.
I almost wonder if the practice at this point isn't really helping because she's not in a good physical state.
Possibly. Her voice sounds weak, yeah. Oh. To provide a really, really strong, bright light for you to chase
follow.
after. Yeah. That's probably one of my favorite things about these types of sports shows, if you will, is that it is very realistic to have the one person in the... Whoa! That nosebleed or... Oh, okay. Oh, that's very common in summer stuff where you'll get so dry and dehydrated that your nose will crack.
Right.
Yep, dehydration. Yep.
She was thirsty, but...
Yeah. I was like, God damn it, don't you dare. And then I looked over at you, you immediately did it.
Yeah.
I actually would have this a lot out of chronic nosebleeds because I think I'd get dehydrated way too easily. Oh.
Of course, Midori puts it into the super romantic phrasing.
I mean, Reina is like the moon for you, you know. Oh.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah. Answering call.
Yeah.
It almost sounds like a competition.
Yeah,
Both being like, no.
Whose practice space is this?
Yeah,
right.
Oh,
Sound travels over water. Whoa, yeah. Yeah, passing ships.
Uh-huh.
You go into your thing of passion, I go into mine.
Yeah.
Regrets. Nope. Yep.
Okay.
Of course not. A reason to keep going.
But
You've got one of
Kumiko's got a
those.
reason. Yeah. Stand up to her. Yeah. Oh. Way to go, Kumiko.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh.
All right.
Oh, okay, let's get into this. Yeah.
So it's not just a casual thing for
my
the sister.
euphonium.
Way to go.
Oh.
Way to go.
Yeah, imagine what it's like for everyone at the school.
Yeah. Everyone knows that they're practicing.
Yeah.
But everyone also knows how good they are.
Or like how they're progressing, you know.
Right.
Just they're like, whoa, you guys have gotten really good in the last like month or two. Oh, but
それでもまだ求められる音にはなっていません。今出だしがずれたのは誰ですか？
oh.
Oh,
練習で
wow.
できないことは本番では絶対にできません。157から一人ずつ聞かせてもらえますか？難しいですか？本番までにできるようになりますか？
はい、できます。
Okay.
わかりました。
Do you see that doubt? He's like, all right.
Well, yeah, it's the okay, you said that, so you better.
Yeah.
確実に狙った力加減で、狙った息の強さで、狙った音をリズムに合わせて出していくことがいかに難しいか。私は思い
It's just too fast. That's the part that just
It is real fast, yeah.
it feels like it doesn't work for that instrument as well because you have to press the same thing up and down like too many
Hey.
times. And it's gone.
Cold water on a hot day.
Is one of the best things, yeah.
Yeah.
So she can help her with timing,
Right.
even though it's a different, you know, slightly different sound from the trumpet. She can be like, hey, here's how
Yeah,
to
this
keep
is
you in
when my
time.
parts are, so.
生意気言ってすみませんでした。
Whoa!
Okay.
こちら
Oh, and gets to hear this.
何一人でやってくなんであんたがいるのよ。
Sudden sneak attack!
Yeah.
Flanking rules! Yeah.
じゃあ一丁大前ちゃんに稽古つけてやっか。はい、お願いします。その時は
Okay.
まだ遠い
Oh, so Asuka is respecting the effort.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that's the difference of where she kind of steps in as a teacher.
トロンボーン塚本くん。はい。今のを常につけるように。
Oh, like that. Oh,
awesome.
Way to go, buddy.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, this is
All right,
it.
come on, you can do this, Kumiko. Come on.
それから UFO、ここは田中さん一人でやってください。田中さん、聞こえましたか？
はい、
ではも
Oh
う一度、
no.
今の指示に気
Oh
をつけて。
no.
それは一瞬だった。
Just like that.
反論の隙も猶予もなく戦いなのだ。
And Shuichi made it in. Like he got it to the point where he played it the way he wanted him to.
Oh, crap. She left her phone.
食べられないよ。
Oh man.
上手くなりたい。
Oh.
上手くなりたい。
Whoa,
right.
whoa, this animation.
Let's see it.
上手くなりたい。上手くなりたい。上手くなりたい。レニも。
The acting is really good.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, Shuichi.
上手くなりたいって言ってんの。
そんなの、俺だって上手くなりてえ。
私の方が上手くなりたい。
俺の方がもっ
Oh, whoa!
Gotcha.
All the way back then.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, this is it.
So
The realization of the development. Oh.
will this be enough though?
No, there's no way.
I mean, theoretically, there's still
it's
over
just
a week till the
willpower,
competition.
今から真面目に勉強しておかないと大学入れないよ。お姉ちゃんなんて受験で水部やめたくせに希望の学校行けなかったじゃん。意味ない。うるさいわ。問題行くつもりないのに水部続けて。私 UFO 好きだもん。は？私 UFO が好きだもん。偉いね。
どうしたんです？こんな時間に。
すみません。忘れ物したので。
Yeah, her phone.
She did.
忘れたんで
That's
す。
true.
また教頭に怒られてしまいました。
Ah,
また。
はい。実は最近ちょくちょく教
Really?
えを受けてるんです。It's
Cool to see him opening up.
gotcha. So the noise and all that, and then of course just
Yeah.
overworking the students potentially.
私の父は10年前までこの学校の吹奏楽部で顧問をしていました。ですか
Oh.
らこの学校に配属された時は
プレッシャーとかなかったんですか？
Yeah, yeah. Bring up the connection between the two of them since her sister played the youth as well.
でも選んだのはこの仕事でした。結局好きなことってそういうものなのかもしれません。
Yeah. Oh.
Okay.
He's not necessarily realizing what he just did there.
Right.
吹けなかったところ練習しておいてください。
Yes, please practice it. Awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
Don't
あな
give
た
up
に
on
で
it.
きますという言葉を。
Okay. Awesome. Awesome.
That's huge.
Okay. Yeah, you go.
Oh, all these texts from Reina.
Okay.
今から会える。ごめんね。
Oh, this soft guitar.
でも、
Okay.
せっかく協力してくれたのに、今まで滝先生と二人っきりだったから。
Lucky.
ちょっとレイナ、これ見て。
She's like, wait, hold on. What?
神様が微笑むなんて嘘だ。こちらを向いて動くのし。ちょっとね、
The way they're talking
Hey,
through and past each
there
other.
we go.
Yeah, yeah.
UFO が好き。
Oh.
クミコ。
Ah.
But to Taki.
That was adorable. Oh, what an
man.
episode.
Okay. All right.
The three layers of stuff going through at the end there.
Yeah.
It's the internal thoughts, the youth, and then the
Right.
Kumiko.
Right. What do you mean you were with Taki Sensei all till now?
Right. It's late. Like,
Yeah.
excuse me.
Hold on a second.
Are we rivals? Like,
I did not expect this development as like a way to increase the stakes at the end of like the season, you know?
sure.
But like, it works. It works real well. Okay. All right.
Lovely character development. Lovely.
Man.
Lovely.
I love this.
So she's come full circle all the way back to the beginning to realize what it means to love something so much
Yep.
that it brings you pain when you're unable to perform and achieve the results based
Right.
on that thing that you love,
Yep.
are passionate about, or whatever.
My euphonium.
Your euphonium, exactly.
So-
and there we go.
All right.
That's the biggest part of Kumiko's development is
Yep.
that she as a character needed to fall in love with it in
Right.
the same way that Midori or Sapphire was kind of right in that it is is all about the love of the instrument.
Yes,
and
love and death, shooting for the moon.
Yes, exactly,
Yeah.
and all this romantic stuff. That's just a way to translate her passion for
Right.
the instrument, naming it and all that and stuff like that. That's just her way of saying it here. But
Right.
now you have a way to understand that, not just through the grueling practice,
Yeah.
but also,
It's so I'm gonna bring up a quote that I've brought up a few times on the channel, but I really love this line. It's from
Yeah.
Pride and Prejudice, and it's that few of us few of us are actually secure enough to be really in love without proper encouragement, right?
Sure.
And Kumiko has not had the proper encouragement up until the start of this show, right? Like,
yes.
Like everything up till this point was something where she hated playing the youth. It's something that she was forced to do, whatever. All these external things of, oh yeah, that's what my sister played and things like that. Oh, you better practice well to make up for your sister, you know, now focusing on studying and whatnot, right? It wasn't hers. It wasn't hers. And at a time in her life where, you know, in this stage of growing up and things like that, just a lot of the times you aren't even confident enough to know who you really are yourself.
Oh, totally.
Right?
Yeah.
Much less whether you love something like, you know, playing the youth, right?
Whether something is your passion or not comes down to when it hits that hard point.
Exactly.
That break point of where you're like, I actually do not like the suffering that I go through while doing this gets basically pitted against your passion levels for playing the thing,
right,
or by participating in this thing that you know you're struggling for.
And that's one of the reasons why I think that Aoi is a great sort of reverse like she's if there's
she's the alternate Kumiko.
She's the alternate Kumiko, and she's the reverse of the Reina, right? Because if Reina is the one
here that's like her sister,
right? Exactly. So because with Aoi, let's say even if she had gotten to the point where she could sort of get by in the ensemble, right?
Yeah.
That wouldn't have really worked because that wasn't her passion, right? And she even mentioned, like, even if she hadn't come into conflict with Taki sensei, she probably would have left eventually, just because entrance exams is more important to her, right? Cram school, like, that's
for sure.
That's what she wants to focus on. Cool, awesome. There you go, right? It would have maybe even potentially been doing her a disservice if she had been able to keep going in the wind ensemble.
Sure.
Right? Because one, her studies probably would have suffered for it a little bit, even if it had maybe not quite been noticeable, right?
Right.
And then she wouldn't have had the joy of overcoming that struggle. Like of having that point where you know you reach the end of yourself with everything that you've been doing up till now, and then you're forced to either evolve, progress, grow, become a new person, right?
Or stop.
Yeah, fold the steel again and keep hammering, or stop.
Yep.
And I think that was also brought up with Shuichi in some really cool ways. And of course, because he's not the main character, it doesn't focus as much on that conflict, so he quickly gets to the point of just, oh, that way you played it?
He nailed it that time.
Keep playing it just like that. You know, if you can do that, then great, right? Whereas with Kumiko, even though she can give the fiery response of, yes, I'm going to be able to play this before the actual performance, right?
Right. That desire needs to be matched up with results.
Exactly.
And right now, she's got a couple, I would say, mental hurdles in her head regarding the youth. And this is something that I initially thought as like, well, that's not enough. And I like that this show doesn't really do that, where it's just I really want to do it, therefore I'll just do it, and it'll just work. She has a couple advantages going into this in that she's been playing the youth for a while.
Right.
But what I think we're about to have just kind of torn right open with this is that this is going to be one of the first times that she's ever played the youth while being in love with the youth. And that is why all this aesthetic and kind of style for the show with regards to being kind of in love with Reina, or kind of being in love with Taki sensei, or just falling into your passion with regards to this and doing it at the times where it's awkward, painful, uncomfortable, or bumps into your sister or something like that, will lead to those moments where she can then actually perform at that level, because it's not being played at just 80%. There's actually I don't know how to describe it, but when you're in love with something like that, there is a natural physical thing that I know that wells up in you that channels more of that energy. So she'll be able to bring out more breath into it. She'll be able to go at a higher intensity. There'll be more endurance that'll just naturally come into play when she's practicing, maybe accelerating her growth a little bit.
Did you actually get the feeling that started to happen a little bit when Reina showed up when she was practicing?
Yes,
because,
a little bit.
Like, and
not a lot, but
not a lot. But there, and I don't have a great ear for music, right?
Yeah, me neither.
So I'm not sure. but it almost sounded like there were bits where she was able to play the piece a bit cleaner, a bit with like better breath control and things like that when Reina showed up than when she was just by herself.
Yeah, if I use Asuka's example as a point of reference, the biggest thing I would say that I'm noticing what makes good music in this kind of thing versus not really good, it is basically just breath control and how you transition between breaths into individual notes. So when she was going the like that part, that like there's little like it's almost like you can hear little spits, like little like you know, like kind of little bits going through there where it's just like
it's not quite clean. Like
it's it's dirty. It feels a little bit messy in the transition between notes.
Right. It very much felt like as she would go through the piece, like at the beginning, she'd be doing pretty good, and then it would just sort of get worse as it went on.
And
that's probably why it's like, and I love that he said this. It wasn't the you're not practicing enough. You know, get ready. Like make sure you can play this piece. It was. Is this piece too hard for you?
Right. Because I think he was noting that she was able to read and follow the music. It
was just that her capability of reproducing wasn't quite keeping up with it.
Right. It's that translation where your mind knows what it has to do, but your body doesn't follow along.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
that's really frustrating, by the way. Like,
and I thought that was really cool as far as Taki sensei, because one of the things that Taki's role in this story, because he's the instructor and he needs to take that sort of very removed, sort of cold approach to a lot of things. True. It's really hard to make him a sympathetic character,
I know what
right?
you mean. Yep.
Because he's a source of a lot of the pain of the students, right? And it's all for the end goal. Well, in the immediate sense, not in the long term necessarily.
He calls them out when they're failing.
Exactly, right.
Not my tempo.
And he has very high standards. Well, yeah, not my tempo, right? And he's very polite about how he does it, but he's also frank, right? Because they're on a tight schedule.
He's a removed version of that.
Exactly,
he's not going to get emotionally like frustrated with you because you're doing this whole thing. He'll just be like, no, you're not performing well enough, so you're not doing this part. Just Asuka, you do it by yourself.
And that's something that I really appreciate, because that's something that I could see being something that he would potentially struggle with, given the fact that he's younger and has less experience. But then the fact that it's no. My dad was a pro. I learned how to do this right, you know, and so that's what he brings to the table. But then even when later when Kumiko goes and has to pick up her phone and then she runs into him, I thought she was going to say something of like, I'm still going to practice, you know, like don't give up on me just yet, you know.
But they actually talked about him.
No, they talked about him, right? And the whole idea of passion and things like that. And he was actually opening up to her about some things that he might not otherwise like or regularly necessarily open up to students about. Like
the principal's on his ass for having them practice so much, which is either parents are concerned about their kids spending too much time in club, or you're being disruptive to the proceedings of the school in general.
Right. Who knows?
For like 6 hours.
Exactly. You know, right. Dawn to dusk. You know, it's like, okay. You know,
which doesn't even sound possible as well, because they'd have to have school classes.
It's probably like, you know, immediately from the end of classes to. Yeah, so every time that he can have them study, he's like,
or
we're
maybe
doing
they
this.
Show up early in the morning before classes.
Sure.
Then they do their classes, and then they go at it again.
Sandwiching school with all this practice.
It's the whole thing of the 2-a-days, you know? Like when
it's hold on, coach, we're not in the Marines here. You know?
If you're in a sports team, one of the things that you have to acknowledge whenever you do any kind of practice, especially if they're younger, is you really want to set aside rest time, because that's where the muscles form and actually build.
Get stronger.
Right, because you're doing all the tearing and stuff during the sports like practices and stuff, but you need them to actually have that rest time so that the work actually means something. With this is a technical skill, although we saw them taping up fingers and stuff, so we know that there's a physical aspect to this that does wear them out. And while there is an element of maybe a little bit of feminine frailty to a couple of the girls at times where it's just like, oh, no, a nosebleed, like...
the nosebleed I loved because it was something where it makes sense in the heat, right?
Totally.
But then also there's that little bit of the joke of...
Yes.
But Reina was there, so...
Reina was causing some thirst to act up in the, the Kumiko department.
Yeah, but
yeah, in this case here, no, it's they're all badasses. It's just that
and Midori's
it's
like
the summer and them just dealing with that heat. Yeah,
and I love that Midori was so like just this is the part where I tape up my fingers, and not just like little bits of tape, but like specific patterns of like I'm going to structurally reinforce my fingers. Like it looks like those like cross beams and stuff you see at construction sites when they're putting up like the framework of the buildings and stuff.
Right.
Like it's like, okay, no, this is very particular. Like it's not just the parts where her fingers are actually touching the cords. It's all over. And she's just like, oh yeah, I'm used to it. It's like, I see. There's that contrabass personality.
Right.
You know,
badass there.
Right.
She's like, I may be small,
but
oh yeah, but I can handle this big boy here.
Yeah, right.
The little bit at the end there though with Reina and Kumiko, and she's like thanking Reina basically, just like, hey, you know, I'm really happy, you know, that you were able to, you know, help me with all this. But their little conversation here, and it's like, if it's about today, you don't need to apologize, but you helped me out. You still have a chance, don't you? Is that what you called me out about? Actually, I was with Taki sensei just now.
And she's like, wait, huh?
Taki sensei said, and before she can even get to what she says here, she's distracted because she sees
the UFO-kun of fate.
Yeah, exactly. And
been built up over the course of the whole series. When will the UFO-kun show up?
But then we get the internal thoughts here saying that the gods smile upon those who make an effort is a lie, but the god of destiny at least gave me a wink.
Right, and she's like, what? Hey, Kumiko, wait, what do you mean you were talking?
Yeah, and then also immediately getting the youth out of the little, what are they called?
The
pachinko machine or whatever.
Yeah.
But then I like playing the euphonium.
And I love the whole idea of that line of the gods of fate gave me a wink.
Yeah, the gods of destiny. Yeah.
Yeah, right. They didn't say just, oh yeah, it's all fine now, but they were like, hey, you know, keep it up.
Yeah, we got
keep it up.
We got you.
It's not over yet.
Yeah, it felt really good because while she's so excited and in love right now, all these things around her and her environment start to look beautiful. She's getting distracted by the little pachinko machine.
Yes.
But in this bit here, she's so washed up in it. She's not even really communicating directly anymore with Reina.
The one that she is also in love with.
Right. So it feels rather wholesome and adorable.
Yes.
But it also feels just kind of fun in that they're like, hey, these two characters that, yes, we have been kind of pushing a little bit of a certain thing.
At least from one side, for sure.
Yes. No, but I mean also just for the audience, the meta kind of thing.
Right.
To, you know, achieve we can debate about
Good
that
ending.
later.
Yeah.
But yes, the fact that they're so excited about this thing and yet they're miscommunicating right now about what's actually going on.
Well, and what I love about
find
that
it so adorable
is that that whole thing of the confidence to be fully in love without proper encouragement, right?
Right.
This is why it's important, I feel like, because and this is why it's important that it was a wink, because people's capabilities usually are not the issue from what I see. It's not whether they can do something, it's whether they will do something.
Sure.
Because they don't have the certainty that the action will give them the result they desire, right? And as such, they don't actually put in the action.
And
right?
it's not about whether or not they'll do it the first time. It's about
whether they stick with it,
whether
right?
they stick with it.
Yeah, because when you're talking about that top 1%, 2%, whatever, right? The people that end up actually getting to go into the performances and potentially make nationals, those are the people that don't give up on it, right?
Yep.
That keep their nose to the grindstone for an extended period of time, right?
Yep.
Diligently. In this situation, this is something where Kumiko has been doing this all on like grit, it feels like the decision of, I'm going to do this, I don't want to be left behind by Reina, I want to be special too, I'm going to do this thing because I'm here, right? But it wasn't for her, Like, if that makes sense, it wasn't because she actually wanted to play the youth. It's that she wanted all the things that came with playing the youth.
Yes.
Being near Reina and things like that.
Sure.
Here, this is something where now all of a sudden this is where she truly falls in love with it, right?
Yeah.
She gets the youth kun, right? And completely forgets about Reina, who's right there.
Right, yeah.
Like, you know, remember in episode 8 where she was hanging on her every word and just her trailing her finger down her nose, and then, you know, off the top lip, she was just like absolutely entranced.
Yeah.
Now she's starting to get that kind of for the youth, right? And that I feel like this is a great way to address that question with art of how much do you do it in a technical way and how much do you do it in an emotional way, right? Because you need the technical in order to make it actually be not just raw chaos, right?
Yeah.
But you need that emotion side of it too, because otherwise it can feel kind of dead, right?
True.
And now Kumiko has gotten to the place where, yes, the technical side of things, she is aware of that. She might need to physically keep up with it, but
Right.
now she's got the emotion that can probably help get that sound that Taki sensei is looking for.
Okay.
Because like the biggest thing that
For sure.
for me and again, this is me not knowing about music and things like that. I'm
Right.
sure there's ways to just forcibly create this, but when Reina and Kaori did their performance against each other, Reina's felt like it communicated more emotion, right? Even though they were hitting a lot of the same beats, just because of, I don't know how she was playing it. And maybe, just maybe, now that she has some of that Asuka obsession with the youth, right?
Okay.
It'll be a bit easier for her to understand how the notes flow from one to the other and all of that stuff. Because I feel like now she's going to be thinking about the youth just because it's the youth, not because, oh, you're this thing that I have to conquer somehow. You know, I don't know. Rant over. And a lot of that was conjecture and things not necessarily based on any kind of, you know, evidence in the show or anything like
Sure.
that. But yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love that as Kumiko's sort of culmination of her arc and development for the season, because that confidence was the thing that she never really had. And that's why I was so excited when she ended up standing up to her sister. Because even when she ended up playing the youth, let me know if you got a different impression from this, but it almost seemed like she wasn't even really playing the piece that she was supposed to be practicing. It was just like an angry, like, I will play this just to show you that I can
she
play
was
it.
in a room?
Yeah, when she just sort of
She only
burst out
got
a
like
few notes.
3 notes out before,
Okay.
so I couldn't really tell.
Gotcha. But it felt a lot to me like a general challenge of I'm going
She
to
wasn't
stick up
doing
for
it the
myself.
right way, if that's...
Right, yeah.
Yeah. But I couldn't tell whether she was playing the piece or not. I would assume she was.
Yeah, probably.
But she was just doing it loud and petulantly.
Right.
Yeah, one of the things that's really exciting about the whole issue with the sister is that the sister is a character that does not have any redeeming qualities at the moment.
Oh,
Like, she doesn't have anything really contradicting the aspects of where she's antagonistic towards her sister,
Right.
which makes her, well, a caricature at this point. But it does mean a little bit that, when we get that kind of that moment, that development with her character, it'll be interesting to see how much they mirror things with what went on with Aoi. Because
Similar situations of what they're deciding to do, but
Right. But one of the things that's rather telling about it in this episode was that when she's like, hey, you're spending all that time on that, that thing there. Why aren't you doing things the way I did it? Basically.
Yeah.
And then she's like, well, there's plenty of reasons to do this. And she's like, oh yeah, well then tell me. I like playing the youth. And she just, what? Like she had like probably a list of things that she expected Kumiko to say, and she had rebuttals planned for those.
right.
And then she says the one that's like the most simple and
It's irrefutable. Because
it just has no it has no basis with regards to results. It's an emotional reason.
Right. Well, yeah.
Which means that it is not necessarily irrefutable. It's just that it does not go into the argument side of things.
Well,
it's just saying, I want to.
right. Yeah.
I like this, so I want to do it. Which is yeah, of course it's irrefutable, but it's the thing of where she was looking for some kind of logic-based response.
Right. Didn't get it.
And she didn't get it.
Yeah.
So I liked that the sister immediately just, well, okay, then good for you. Which, that good for you line, oof. That just shows that the sister didn't like the youth.
Right.
Like, yeah, good for you. I wish I could have liked the youth, but
well,
yeah,
and
it felt a bit pointed.
Yeah, it definitely passive aggressive. Yeah, right.
One pointed away, one pointed towards you, and 3 pointed back at yourself.
Right. Yeah. That's because I could totally see it being something where she didn't like the youth. I could also totally see it being something where she actually did. And well,
and then see, it's not a binary thing.
Totally,
it's not you like it or you don't like it.
Yeah, it's a scale. It's a gradient. Yeah.
So,
but when it came right down to it, she made a particular decision, and the decision did not get her the results that she wanted. She still didn't get into the university, right? And I love that Kumiko brought that up as like you're projecting, you're trying to get me to do the things that you did, but you're still not happy with the decisions that you made. Right.
Right. Which makes it hard to follow along with her, even though she could be right about a lot of things, what she's saying.
Yeah.
So one of the things that is rather tricky about kind of romantic stories, because this is totally a romantic story, even though it does have a lot of the technical side of things and stuff like that, is that when you talk about passion, it's actually alien to a whole large percentage of the population, just people in general. A lot of people just don't have passion. It's hard to accept as a romantic, which I know you are, but a lot of people I've talked to find it actually exhausting to be around passionate people because they just force them to acknowledge that passion is a thing that exists and something that you can channel.
And that they currently don't have.
Well, yeah, of course. But everyone does the comparison thing of being frustrated by someone that things have that they don't, the haves and the have-nots. That's just a whole portion of life. You have people that have like a really large portion of happiness for whatever reason. And you could just be like in a place right now where you're like, I'm really unhappy. So anyone that's happy right now, I could see as being fake because they must be faking their happiness or something like that.
Yeah, it's the getting salty when Valentine's Day rolls around and you're single,
And we all commiserate together and it's fun. But the aspect of passion yields results. And this is the part that is really difficult for when I've been in those places where I didn't have passion, is that passionate people constantly try to make other people passionate. And it's really unnerving and annoying because you're like, can you just buzz off and go do your passionate thing? Like, why do you have to involve me in your passion? I don't really like it. So the sister here being in this situation where we have not given her the contradictions of her development yet. We haven't really gone into her as a character yet. I think that they're setting up here that she had passion, like you're saying. She did like the euphonium, but she had to essentially stop liking the euphonium for her own sake so that she could then go and focus on the other thing.
Right.
Which she didn't like as much. Therefore, she maybe put less effort into in general. So when people project out and they warn of things like, hey, you should be doing this because you're not going to get into a good thing, they're speaking usually from a small area of truth in that they had to experience that on some level in order to be able to say that with confidence. So
and when you try and teach someone something, it's for one of two reasons. It's either so that they learn from your mistakes and avoid them, or so that you can share your successes. Right? That's the only two reasons, really. Right?
There's not really any other.
Or sometimes it's from other people's successes or failures. But that's kind of what it's usually.
Those are the groups that everything becomes kind of subcategories.
Right. It's teaching off of a curriculum versus teaching from your own personal experience.
Right.
And that's the sister situation. And like you said, I'm also very excited to see how that ends up going, because while she is very much a caricature at this point, we can see the inconsistencies within her, right? Of the fact that she's telling Kumiko to do this thing that didn't work for her, right? So it's and then what's going to happen when she ends up seeing that this actually does end up working for Kumiko. Because one of the things, and this was what I remembered that I was wanting to bring up as sort of the tie-in for the whole Kumiko learning to love the youth.
Oh, yeah.
With the whole thing of people not putting effort into something if they aren't sure that they'll get the results.
Okay.
Is that if you love doing the thing just for the sake of doing the thing, then you don't need to worry about whether or not you'll get some results from it or not.
That's true.
Because you just do it.
That's
right?
true.
You
Yeah.
love to do it, so you do it, right? That's what it is for Asuka. She loves playing the youth, right? So it's not about whether she'll get into a competition or not.
Yep.
She just thinks it's the coolest thing ever, right?
Right.
With Reina, it's a similar thing, you know? And with Kumiko, maybe now it's there too. So maybe she'll get into this competition. Maybe she'll be able to do it in the 9 days or 8 days or whatever's left. Maybe she won't. Who knows?
Yeah.
Taki still is saying, I believe that you'll still hold yourself to what you said, right?
Right.
In that you'll be ready. But even if she's not, she loves the youth now. Mm-hmm. You can bet your ass that she will certainly be ready for the next one, even if she somehow doesn't make this one. I hope she makes this one.
Yeah.
But even if she doesn't, she is going to kill it on the next one.
Right.
So
yeah. It is one of those things where this is why I like anime, and I particularly like the sports kind of genre so much in a lot of ways, is that the romantic side of struggling is very much delved into with regards to talent, hard work, grit, and all of these things that are necessary in order to perform at a high level in whatever area of passion you're focusing on, be it music, boxing, or volleyball. But getting into the human struggles or the human thoughts and stuff like that people experience while going through this is really important. And this show as a whole really delves into that with Kumiko. Kumiko as a character is one that I would say has a lot of blank slate potential if they didn't develop her that much.
Sure,
Because she kind of fits the, I am not as passionate about this as all of you. I'm just kind of doing this, and I happen to be just kind of decent at it already because I have, years and years and years and years of playing it already under my belt. But, for some reason, I'm not putting all this effort. Oh, wait, now I'm starting to put all this effort into it, and it suddenly works. But it's not. And the fact that right here, she's hitting the, no, you're not cutting it right here.
She worked till she bled.
Right.
Wasn't
I
enough.
really want this to be something where then it becomes a question of whether or not only does she have the talent or the desire to put in the hard work, but it's the emotional thing that we're talking about here that will carry her through both of those arenas and where she can actually play at that game. When someone has no talent, but they put in a lot of grit and hard work, they do get some good results, but they ultimately do not make it into the top bit of their area. They do not become special.
Yeah.
So this is where I really want them to focus on this, is that right now Kumiko shows no special talent necessarily with regards to the youth. That is not a point of her character right now.
Yep.
Right now we have shown that she has the time that she's put in, which is a talent in and of itself somewhat.
Totally.
Second bit, she's putting in the hard work. That's yielding results here, and that she's getting better, like a lot better. Next bit is that she's now found the passion, the love for it. Will that awaken basically the results of that she's had talent with regards to this? And I would like to see that be the thing that she either struggles with or gets focus on, because that's what separates, in a lot of ways, her from Reina. Reina has a number of advantages with regards to this that would make her talented, quote unquote.
Right.
So I don't want her struggle to be over in the next episode, Kumiko's, because it will make her a much more interesting character for me personally if she doesn't just overcome this just on the I fell in love with the thing, so therefore I suddenly become better at it.
Now, by overcoming it, do you mean the get to the point where she can play the piece for this performance?
No,
or
no. I'm just talking about it being a.
But this being an ongoing struggle and something where it's the I'm in the early stages. This is a young love essentially, so it still needs to dig its roots down deep and.
Yes, great way to describe it. It's a young love, which means she's going to be raw. She's going to be messy. She's going to make mistakes.
It's going to be painful.
It's going to be painful. It's going to have a lot of excitement. It's going to have a lot of just sudden firsts, and stuff like that. So I want that to be where the story focuses on here, and that's where I think this show just excels. Like, that's where it's the pièce de résistance with regards to the writing and the characters and stuff, is that's what all the other characters have kind of had their little moments of when they struggle.
Right.
So let's have that with our MC too.
Yeah.
Please.
Okay, just to talk about details from the episode, the whole running sequence, God, that was so good.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
I loved that. I loved that.
Was really good.
I would feel like I would have done this show a disservice if I did not give special attention to that, because the animation was fantastic.
Yeah,
the voice acting was incredible. And there is something that is cathartic for me in general about having that point where the emotion builds up so much that you just need to scream it out, whether it's I want to be better or something, you know, or simple enjoyment or whatever. But then also the fact that Kumiko is the one doing that, because she's the one who would never do that, right?
Yeah, she's the quietest of
exactly.
like all the characters.
She was the invisible main character at the beginning, right? The one who would absolutely not stand out, not a blank slate, you know, like, or not a true blank slate, not a self-insert necessarily or whatever, but
I got you.
She had her own personal flavor, but definitely the timid character, right?
Yeah, when I said blank slate earlier, I was saying blank slate potential. She was a character that if they didn't want to do anything with her, they had set her up to where they could just leave her like that and have her be more of a self-insert for the audience.
Yep.
But she's not. She's growing, she's developing, she's honing in, she's becoming, in some ways, less, she's, I don't know how to describe it. She's honing in. She's simplifying.
So I have a thought of a way to describe it.
Okay.
She's stoking that awful personality.
Oh, yeah. All right.
She's letting herself have an awful personality. Stand up to her sister, you know, even if it's a thing of a bit of a like, oh man, that was a stab of, you know, well, you didn't get into the university you wanted, like.
Yeah, it's necessary in order for her to have passion and that she speaks what's on her mind.
Exactly.
So yeah. That's actually one of the things that I feel like a lot of people could learn just in real life, is that enthusiasm in general is infectious. It's not about what the content of your words is really necessarily. People can feel the passion and the sincerity behind that passion through the enthusiasm. Meaning, like, a lot of people are passionate about the things they don't like. Like, a lot of people are really passionate about the things that they hate and the things that they can't stand.
They love to hate it, yeah.
Yeah. And it's just like, okay, just go hang out on Twitter then. Just go away.
Or 4chan.
Or whatever. But the point is that with enthusiasm, there's this, I want to get better. They're screaming in a public area across traffic about the things they want to get better at, making their voices hoarse. This isn't going to help them get better at the music in any way, them saying this directly.
Nope.
But the fact that they're doing this then leads to those moments afterwards where then they're willing to be more confident and more enthusiastic about their passion and their love. So, yeah.
It's that emotional and personal journey that goes in parallel with the technical journey, you know, the plot journey.
Yeah. So it's exciting.
Yeah. I'm very excited to see the next episode.
Yeah. And it's the finale.
It's the finale of the first season, and I really hope Kumiko makes the cut. I believe that she will, but at the same time, it's something where it's like you scared me with this episode show. So
I really needed this episode in the show personally.
Yeah,
personally, I needed Kumiko to in some ways have a little bit of a struggle with regards to the music side of things. Otherwise, I'd be like, what? Why is she the main character?
Exactly. This episode is the whole benefit and boon and wonderful aspect of having a character that is the invisible nobody, right? As the MC, right? Because they don't have the crazy talent, right? Because, you know, and some people call talent the
right. I was meaning that she made the euphonium cut, whereas a third year didn't. You know,
you're right.
She has talent, some, very little.
But well, it's the hard work that people don't see, you know, but now it's getting to that point where it's for nationals. Sorry, that's not going to cut it.
You don't have like that kind of talent.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If we were going for another dud gold, you'd probably be able to stay in. Certainly, if we were going for a silver. But for nationals, no.
Right.
The bar is set very high.
And thus the callback to season 1.
Exactly.
Sorry, episode 1.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And I loved that.
So
I loved
good.
that. It was great.
So, y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get on early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general, and also be sure to check out our Twitch channel.
Yes, we stream every weekday. The info's in the description down below.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.